When you were in high school, did you have an interest in being a business owner?
Did I have any? Always.
Always?
I grew up, my parents had their own business. They were entrepreneurs, I guess.
Really?
They bought an old tavern in 1967 that had a dining room that hadn't been used in 30, 40 years.
Wow.
And they fixed it up and turned it into a nice family restaurant, sold it for a profit, bought another restaurant, and then bought another restaurant.
That's awesome. Did you take certain classes in high school for business?
No.
You just took the average classes?
I learned how to type, thank God.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'd do if I hadn't learned that.
Yeah.
I got buddies that sit here with two fingers.
That's me.
Thank God. Now they call it keyboard, I guess.
Yeah. How did you start your business?
I was in consumer product sales my entire adult career, selling major products, major companies' products to mass market retailers.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked for companies like Stanley Tools, Ortho, Sunbeam, and Coleman Company. And a guy I developed, you end up knowing a lot of people,
Yeah.
network, if you will. And a guy called me up and said, he called someone else up that knew me. And he said, we need someone to call on Home Depot for us. This was a Chinese manufacturer of water coolers.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy said, well, you want Bob Ramsey? Because he knew me and he thought I did a good job. So I had experience with Home Depot. This guy called me up and I met with him. And we had a conversation on the phone. We both had mutual interest. And Chinese people are different than us. In the United States, someone would just pay your plane ticket. And I said, I'll tell you what. I just was guessing because I didn't know the Chinese people that well, their culture at the time. Mm-hmm. I said, split the plane ticket with me and I'll be there in 4 hours.
That's awesome.
And he did and I did. And we talked. And after I learned his business model, I realized that they didn't know how to do business here. At least his company didn't.
Yeah.
And I said, you don't need someone to handle Home Depot, you need someone to handle all your sales. Mm-hmm. He agreed and made me their vice president of sales and marketing. I got into this business after learning the industry and all the competition thoroughly, and he started not honoring his share of the agreement, so I just did it myself.
Oh, what did you like most about that? Like, what do you like most about your job or owning a business?
The most?
Yeah.
Opportunity to be able to earn as much as I can.
Yeah.
And independence.
Mm-hmm. What were your biggest challenges starting your business or like going into the business?
Learning the Chinese culture and learning how to deal with the factories. Financial. Financial was a big part. Finding funding for a company that required immense funding. Anyway, yeah.
Did you hire anyone in your job or were you just...
Did everything myself.
What'd you look for in like characteristics in a person to hire? Like especially starting to learn their culture.
People who don't give up. Too many people, you'll ask them to do something and they'll come back after hitting one obstacle and say, oh, such and such was wrong. I couldn't finish. And I tell people when they work for me that I expect them to not let obstacles stop them. Mm-hmm. And just keep going until you really do hit a brick wall.
Yeah. Well, the Chinese workers, how are they like different from people here? Like...
Oh, it's huge. The Chinese workers are very nice people. They're all extremely hardworking and very grateful for their jobs. The negative is, because of their culture, they do what they're told to a fault. If they're told to do something on an assembly line and they realize that it's wrong, they will do it anyway.
Really?
They don't, unless you get to the management, the Chinese workers are not allowed. They're not taught and they're not encouraged to be independent thinkers. Mm-hmm. They're taught to do what they're told.
Really?
It's a shame.
Wow. Do you see your business growing or?
We doubled our business last year and we'll double it again this year.
Really? How much growth have you seen like since you've joined or started the business?
Well, let's see. We started in 2011. In 2015, we finished with $3 million in sales. In 2016, we finished with $11 million.
Wow.
And this year we'll hit 18 to 20.
Really? Is Home Depot like the main retailer for your?
No. Amazon, Costco. We sell not only brick and mortar retailers, but also all the e-commerce, e-tailers, if you will.
Really?
No.
So how much does it cost to make a average $100 ice maker?
Ah, good question. What kind of margins are involved? Well, this is secret stuff. Well, to get into it, what we do when you're looking at an ice maker, we don't just go and decide we're going to make an ice maker. We find a factory, usually several factories that make ice makers.
Yeah.
We interview them. We look at their products, look at their quality, and then we make a judgment decision on which factory we're going to use. And then we invest in design and tooling, tool up our own ice maker with our own look and our own internal components that may differ from what they sell, so that we've got better quality. So we make up our own product. Long story short, a water cooler is about $150,000 in tooling and design and everything. Ice maker is about $80,000. And then when you make them, that's just to get it started. And then when you make them, an ice maker that we sell for $150 probably costs us, well, it'll retail for $150. We'll sell it for $100. We'll buy it for $60.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now, in that, we have all sorts of costs. Our overhead as a company, we have freight from China, we have returns.
Yeah.
Returns online, anything with a cord online can be 10% on the internet. Our true defects are usually only around 1 to 2%. And they're employees, returns, and then we license it. One of the things I've learned is that if you just come up with a product and call it the Avion or the Jet Ice or something like that, some no-name brand, it's not going to do well. The brand names are what distinguish yourself. So what we do is we made an agreement with, in this case, Hamilton Beach, and we license that brand. They don't just let us put their name on, they inspect our factory to make sure we confirm with all safety and social audits, so that there's no children working there, there's proper fire exits, they don't have people working 80 hours a week, that sort of thing. And then they actually test the product. Once we get the product completed, they take a production sample and they test it with the machine that tests the buttons a million times till it fails and that sort of thing. So they make us adhere to a higher level of quality than most people would have to. Anyway, and for that we pay them a flat royalty, which is single digits.
All right. Well, thank you for taking your time out of your day.
All right.
Thank you.